With who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to Speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to Speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to Speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Welcome to Speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to Speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to Speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to Speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to Speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. Welcome to Speak on it with who you with, Kirk, though. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome. I'm welcome to Speak on it. Welcome to Speak on it. I'm welcome to Speak on it. Welcome to Speak on it. I'm welcome to Speak on it. Welcome to Speak on it. I'm welcome to Speak. Welcome to Speak. Welcome to Speak. I'm 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 who you with, Kirk, dog. Welcome to Speak on it with who you with, Kurt, dog. I'm who you with, Kurt, dog. Want to welcome everyone to the show. What is this? Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to everyone. Want to welcome everyone listening on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Twitter. D Live is always in the house. You can live chat with us in the chat room. If you are on my personal Facebook page, please go to Speak on it with who you with, Kurt, dog. The link is at the bottom. And you can live chat with us during the show. Welcome to the show. Marcella Smith out of Louisiana said, I'm here early tonight. It's the People Show. I feel you. I appreciate you for always supporting and continue to support the show. Tonight, yeah, we're going to do a little update. We talked about Hunter Brittain last week, I believe, and he was laid to rest yesterday. So we're going to do an update on that story. Then we also going to talk about Greg Abbott. For the ones that don't know, Greg Abbott is Texas piece of America. I mean, a governor that we have, and we're about ready for him to leave. So we'll talk about that tonight. And then also we're going to talk about Trump. Yeah, Trump is in the news again. We got to do something to keep his head, keep his name out there. So once again, if you are on my private Facebook page, please go to Speak on it with who you with, Kurt, though. For whenever you make a comment, we can always display the message up on the screen, and everybody can see exactly what you're saying. So, hold on. Hold on. I'm trying to get my phone right if I can see. Have so many different platform that we're on, so I'm trying to make sure I get it all together. But in case you don't see it, it's right at the bottom. Speak on it with who you with, Kurt, though. You can go over to that page and live chat with us in the chat room. So Hunter Biden, the 17-year-old that was shot and killed, I believe it was last week or the week before or something, by a police officer in Arkansas. Um, he was laid to rest yesterday. And for years, now this is only my personal opinion, but a lot of time when it's an unarmed black person being killed, and when we call for justice, a lot of people frown on that. Well, like I said last week, Hunter Brittain is a Caucasian male. He was shot by a Caucasian cop, and unfortunately, justice still need to be served. And because of what this cop have done, and the family is actually calling for for the police killing to stop with everybody, which is good. So they are coming together. Um, I believe Reverend Al Sharpton gave the eulogy. Um, uh, Attorney Ben Crump is one of the attorneys on the case because it is a civil right matters, regardless of what color you are. Um, it becomes a civil right matter once your civil rights have been violated. And for Hunter to get out that truck and had only a bottle of antifreeze, and this cop ended up shooting and killing him, and then cut his body camera on to after the fact. So that sergeant actually was terminated last week, um, once they discovered that he did not follow the policies of the body cam policy. But uh, this story is coming from Arkansas Time. Hunter Brittain funeral included loud and biracial calls for justice and police reform. Um, the pickup he was driving the night he was shot by Lenox deputy after a traffic stop was parked outside. Speaker include Ben Crump and Reverend Al Sharpton. A prayer from his pastor opened the remarks. Then friend spoke. Smallest friend and biggest balls, said one. Justice for Hunter. The crowd would be repeated. His uncle Jesse Brittain said the family wouldn't stop advocating until there was justice for Hunter. And he also invoked unjust killing by police around this country. Qualified immunity for law officer must end. He said to an ovation, he urged all to unite behind equal justice for all race. Um, and Devin Jacob, who been a lawyer for George Floyd family, said racism is something, an element in police shooting, but sometimes it is a failure of training. That's with the shooting of Brittain, by an officer who didn't turn on his body camera. He said national standards are needed for policing and accountability. If the Senate won't pass reform legislation, then more pressure should be put on the president if the legislation doesn't act. He listed police victims, black, white, and Chinese, laid at the president's feet. It's only the changes we have some measure of peace. Crump invoked other police fleeing cases. He joined George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Kristen Hall, and Hunter Brittain. He said each one of their lives by name mattered. We came here today to proclaim unity that American President Biden, the governor of Arkansas, and people all over the world would stand up with us and say, Hunter Biden life matter. He led the audience and repeating the chant. He urged them to say it loudly so his grandmother with a hearing aid in Brighton in heaven could hear. Shocked and recounted Crump called invite him to join Brighton case. He said, it might be controversial. He told Sharpton it was a white young man. Then I said, we must go. The issue about policing is not about black and white. It's about right and wrong. He added, we don't just come for one race, we come for what is right. The mostly white audience applauded. He said he didn't know what contributed to Brittain death, race, class, or other reason, but he was shot down without due process and considered guilty until proven innocent. And he said if the deputy had enough time to shoot, he had enough time to turn on the body camera. And yes, Sharpton said he is seeking publicly. I want the whole world to know the name of Hunter Brittain. And if my comment can bring some public then that's what I'm supposed to do. He turned to the Bible with the pallbearer, um, the Good Samaritan. You are not tested by the helping those that you like or know well. Sharpton said that he hoped that when his day of judgment arrived, when they list the things that I might have done wrong, that Miss Becky might stand up and say he came from a different race in a different time, and he stood up for my grandson like the Good Samaritan. Wrong must be condemned, whoever does it. He said, young people killing others in Little Rock is wrong. Police killing innocent is wrong. Wrong is wrong. Wrong is wrong. Sharpton said, keep marching, keep standing up, keeping good to the country house and the state house and the police station and stand up. If you're for Trump, wear your Trump button, but keep marching. If you're for Biden, wear your Biden button and keep marching. All of us want to see our children come home at night safe and protected. He must. He said there might be a message in the antifreeze bottle that the world needs to melt frozen hearts that separate us. Maybe, said Hunter Brittain, is calling for some antifreeze. He closed to churn. It's antifreeze time. The service closed with the prayer as people of different race and heritage and gender stood before Brittain coffin. This is what the family of God looked like, said the preacher. People then streamed past the coffin. Um, so, said an update, Brian Chilson provided a sour note on what was uplifting funeral devoted of calling for everything but justice, unity of race and professional policing. Some self-styled militia took it up on themselves to post a guard outside the Lonoc sheriff office, bozo time. So hopefully this incident will open a lot of eyes to what's going on in America and what we been taking a stand for several years, actually for over 400 years, um, but at least for the last 10 years, there have been so many unarmed killing by the police. And now here's something where a young Caucasian male was shot and killed that was unarmed. So hopefully they find out the truth. Um, the officer didn't have his body cam on. I don't know if they have cameras in the car. Because most police cars, once you activate your lights, that camera automatic starts. So I don't know if it's a camera in there or not. But I can tell you that the state police is investigating and they will make a decision if charges will be filed. Who knows? Maybe no honor. I don't know. That's the thing that is coming out. And if you go to Lonoc County Sheriff page, I believe on Facebook, the sheriff put out a statement and explaining that he did terminate the service of Sergeant. I forgot his name right now, but he did terminate his service because he did not follow the agency protocol for body cam, which we need people to take a stand on that. Um, Not just because it's a young white kid that is killed, but it should be an outrage whenever someone is killed that was unarmed by the police and it's not justified. We need to come together all the time, not just because Hunter Brittain was killed, but we need to come together every time. And if more people come together from all background, from all race. That will make America great, because then what will happen? It will prevent those certain folks to come out and come out and do damage to people property, if it's more of a of pretty much of everybody out there. Now, it's not going to say it's going to prevent all of it, but it'll be more people being able to identify the perpetrators that are doing damage to people property and shouldn't be doing it. So I'm glad that his family is taking a stand. Sorry for his loss, but hopefully the truth will come out. The truth should come out, and justice should be done uh, to um, to protect uh, what happened to Hunter. And laws need to be changed to make sure we hold the cops accountable when things like this happen. Let's not just do it when it's somebody other than a black person being by the police. Let's do it at all time. So, and I think this is a good way of trying to do that. But that's my opinion. You heard the story what Reverend Al said, and that came from Arkansas Times. You can pull it up, read it for yourself, and take a look at it, because we need to make a difference. We definitely need to make a difference in everything that we do. And the first part we can start making a difference is getting out and vote. Yeah, I know people saying you talk about voting all the time. Well, it will make a difference if you get out and vote. Go vote. Register to vote and vote. If you are an ex-offender that is off papers, have paid all your dues, most states will give you your voting rights back. But you have to go in and reapply. You could go to vote.org and check and see if you could get your voting rights back and get it back. Once you get it back, then turn around and vote. I seen on the news last night that more and more people wanting to sit on the jury duty now. How most people would normally try to get out of it. No, they're willing to go through the process and do their civil duty by sitting on the jury duty, which that's what we should do, because it can make a difference. Because sometimes you get some juries in there and they already prejudged the person just because the color of their skin. They mind is made up on everything. Um, just because, oh, he's black or he's Hispanic, he's guilty. And that's what we need to stop. So, yes, voting is very important. And keep in mind that um, our laws influence our federal laws. Our local laws influence our federal laws, because what happened here locally, that's how they're going to design the federal laws. So we definitely need to make sure um, we take a stand, allow our voice to be heard, and and definitely get out and vote. I don't care who you vote for, but get out and vote. That is your right to vote. That's your right to vote. And unfortunately, some people feel like they vote don't count. Only time it don't count is when you don't get up and vote. That's the only time it won't count. They can't read your mind. You can't think about it and automatic put your vote in. No, you got to get out and vote. Register to vote and get out and vote. Now, um, as for Greg Abbott, he finally called the special session, but did not reveal what's all in it. But according to Texas Tribune, Here in Texas, Greg Abbott included voting restriction, critical race theory, and rules of transgender student athletes on special legislative session agenda. Abbott also put border security and restoring funding for the legislation branch, which he voted vetoed last month on the special session agenda. Um, just give you a background of Marcella said, we got this thing backward. We spend too much time defending political race instead of the human race. See, Marcellus, you be coming with some strong stuff. You're right though. A lot of people don't be concerned about the human race, and unfortunately, now I love dogs. I can deal with any animals except snakes, but I love dogs. But unfortunately, in most people's eyes, a dog life is worth more than a human life. I'm just saying. Unfortunately, that's how it is. And some people really consider a dog life worth more than a black person life. And it shouldn't be like that. But if you talk with the right one, they if it came down between your life and the dog life, you finna go bye bye. Cause they gonna save that dog. I'm just saying. Um, yeah, but you are right about that, Marcellus. Uh, we should be focused on instead of defending political races, um, and we need to be focused on human race because that's what's important. Look at all the shootings that is going on. I was watching this show a while ago before I came on, and they was talking about all the mass shootings that have happened just this past weekend across the world. A mass shooting in Dallas. I believe Dallas police is looking for 6 people right now in Hampton Park, up in North Dallas. I believe it was three young people that lost their life from the age of 17 to 22 at a Fourth of July celebration. People thought it was fireworks, but it was actually gunfire. Now I don't know about y'all, but for me, and I've said this many a time, I stay away from, and I've always been a news junkie. From the early '80s, I would always hear at 10 o'clock, Clarice Tinsley on Channel 4 would come on, and before the news started, they would ask, "It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are?" So I've always watched the news, paid attention to the news. But now it's to the point, it's kind of depressing to watch the news with all the violence that happened. I'm talking about just here in Dallas alone. I believe in Fort Worth, one shooting, 8 people were shot in one day at the same place. So here it is, all these shootings going on. And I'm talking about just in Dallas. So yeah, we need to focus on trying to get that under control. And one thing that outlet I was looking at, they said at first when George Floyd was murdered, people was calling for reform, defund the police, and now they trying to blame that on the reason why crimes are bad. No, that's not the reason why. I don't know what the reason why, but That's their opinion of the reason why crimes are bad. So many shootings are going on. But my opinion is when we had a racist leader in office that taught race, that was okay with race, that made people decide to put them on edge. Now, unfortunately, for the black on black crimes that have always take place, and it needs to stop. We need to start policing our neighborhoods again. Um, so that's one of the things we got to look at. Marcella said here in Streetport, shooting are in a cycle every day. A 17-year-old was kidnapped last night while walking home from work. We need to pray for the safety and the sanity of others. Yes, we do. We do. And we definitely need to do that because this world is not good. Uh, when we see stuff like uh, Edward Matthew going to somebody's house, calling them all these racial slurs and charging them up and stuff like that, that need to come to a halt. That need to stop. But a lot of people are comfortable with doing those things. But the black on black crime need to stop. It need to stop because it's not going to lead nowhere. Yeah, you may injure a person, you may kill a person, but guess what? Your life is over also. Your life is over. I remember when I grew up, if we had a problem, we put a stick on our shoulder, be like, hey, you bad, knock it off. You bad, knock it off. We may even fight a little bit. But we went home that night and we was friends the next day again. If not the same day, depends on the time of day that it happened. So it really depends. I know for me personally, my mom, she didn't play that because she and me and one of my friends growing up, we played every day together. And we got into it one day. My mom gave me a choice. You could, I'm gonna whoop you. That wasn't an option. I was getting a whooping, but I had a choice. Go back and apologize after I got the whooping. I was gonna stay in the house after I got the whooping. Well, I said I ain't going to apologize. But after about 10, 15 minutes, I said, you know what? It's boring in here. I need to go back outside. I tucked the whooping, went back and apologized. But she didn't play about that. You treat everybody with respect. You have an issue, you talk about it. All to it. If not, walk away. Now, if it come down to the fact you having to defend yourself, that's completely different. So, but yeah, we need we need to do some. Everybody need to do their part. If you're in a particular neighborhood, you know who the bad characters are. You know the ones stealing cars, breaking in a house, robbing folks. You know, pull them to the side and talk to them. Tell them, come on, man. You're taking our property value down. It's not going to benefit us. And eventually you're going to get caught. When it's all said and done, you will get caught. So, yeah, I agree with you, Marcellus. We're in some trying time, and it's getting worse. It's getting very bad every day. I think like the first 15 minutes of the news, they talking about the crimes. And matter of fact, right now, I believe they doing a memorial in downtown Dallas or at City Hall, a candlelight visual for the officer that was ambushed several years back. This is unfortunately um, the anniversary of that ambush. Um, I'm trying to pull it up. I forgot how many years it is. I think it's been 5 years. I'm not quite sure. Um, if you're just not tuning in, um, like I said, it's one thing about us. If something is going on, we just have to stop and pull it up. Yeah, so it's actually it happened on July 7th, 2016. So this is the 5th year, and the 5 officers that actually lost their life from a senseless killing. Um, the brother was upset because all the police killing and a protest was going on downtown Dallas. I remember that day when my wife and I think we both just got in from work or something, and news came on mighty early. I'm like, wait a minute, the news ain't supposed to be on now. And I look, and they talking about a sniper was downtown shooting from a building, and police, everybody was taking cover. Matter of fact, it was several people that was downtown at that time that could not get their cars for days because they had it all roped off. So, um, so it's we don't need that type of stuff, but we do need to provide counseling because it's a lot of people struggling mentally. When I took time off last month, I said, "Hey, I needed that time off." I understand. Sometimes I do. I get stressed. It was the time from my birthday, my mom's birthday, and then one of our friends' birthday, and she ended up losing her life on their birthday. So it was. I was like, you know what? I need some time off. So, um, so you got to recognize when you are struggling. And I'm gonna say this, and I need to reach out to a counselor because we're gonna have a brother come on pretty soon, a counselor. And um, if you are working, if you are working, you could go to your HR and ask about the EAP program, Employee Assistance Program. You and your household can get counseling for free. You could get it for free. Um, you just gotta ask for it. It's a benefit that you have. Just go to your HR and say, "Hey, I need some counseling. Can you give me the information about the EAP program?" And trust me, it works. I've been taking counseling since 2018. Every week, it works. So definitely check with your employer and try to get it. Take advantage of it. It's free, and it will cover you, your spouse, and your kids. So there's no reason to try to deal with this by yourself. And I'm gonna be honest, when I first went, it took me a couple of sessions before I started talking because I had the mindset black folks don't go to counseling. I'm not going in here to tell them my business. And that's the mindset that a lot of people have. Oh, that counselor just won't want to know my business. But guess what? That counselor also have to follow the law, just like your primary doctor would. They cannot give out any information without your permission. So you're protected. Whatever you say is between you and that counselor. So definitely take advantage of it. It works. You're looking at a living testimony of taking counseling. Other than that, y'all might hear me cussing every night, but yeah, it works. Trust me. Um, but what I was saying a while ago about Texas, Greg Abbott did do this special session, which is time for us to get rid of him. Um, in this special session, and actually, what the story is saying that um, Greg Abbott announced the agenda for the special legislation session that began Thursday, tomorrow. He just put it out today, asking lawmakers to prioritize 11 issues that largely appeal to conservatives who want more out of the regular session. The announcement of the agenda came just over 24 hours before lawmakers are set to reconvene in Austin. The agenda included Abbott priority bill related to overhaul Texas election and the voter suppression, key word, um, in the bail system, as well as pushing back against social media censorship. He probably pissed at me because I follow him on Twitter and he don't like it. I'm sure him and his crew is listening to the show and hear me talk about him all the time. Um, and the teaching of critical race theory in school. He don't want to talk about race in America. He want to censor that. He want to limit what can be said and what can't be said about the history of America in schools. Now, when it come down to history, you got to take the good with the bad. You got to take them both at the same time. And some people not going to like it. But at the same time, Greg Abbott prefer it don't be taught in school. He even went off on a teacher last year that had a made a cartoon comparing um, policemen to the Klansmen back in the old days. Said it's they pretty much the same because Klansmen used to hunt down black folks and kill them. Well, that's the same thing that some of the police have done also. They killing black folks. And he got upset and I believe he asked for the teacher to be removed or something. Allegedly, but don't quote me on that. But I know he made a big uproar about it, and I believe that teacher ended up resigning. Welcome to the show, T Cal. Thank you for always tuning in. Um, Also, in a special session, most of these issues were anticipated after they did not pass during the regular session, and Abbott faced pressure to revive them or had already committed to bringing them back. Greg Abbott is all about himself. Greg Abbott is trying to win his re-election. Don't fall for the okie doke. That's all he's trying to do. As long as he been in office, he had plenty of times to get the border wall built. But now he want to take our tax dollars here in Texas and build that wall. All to please certain folks. And if you look at the pattern of it, that's the way Trump won in 2016, talking about the wall, talking about getting Mexico to pay for it, talked about sending Hillary to jail over the emails. He tried to run on that again, but people didn't fall for the okie doke. That's the same thing that Greg Abbott is trying to do. Now, Greg Abbott, last year during the pandemic, he signed an executive order required for Texas to shut down. Two young ladies down near the border, um, they decided to do eyebrows and do nails at their home. They went to jail. Nobody said nothing. I talked about it, but nobody said nothing. Then little Becky decided to violate his order, got fined, went to jail because she refused to admit that she was wrong. Was going to spend either 3 to 5 days in jail. What Greg Abbott do? He changed his executive order to benefit little Becky. He changed them, got her out of jail. Now it just wasn't Greg. Allegedly, Dan Patrick paid all their fines. Ken Patson, I don't know what he did, but we know he have 2 accounts up against him. One for financial fraud, and the other one for abusing his power. And he's still being investigated now. If you notice, he been like a church mouse, real quiet. Oh, and also the Texas State Bar Association is investigating him, trying to decide if they're going to yank his license from him. So, yeah, all of them need to go. Sid Miller, too. Board of Education is up for re-election next year. Yeah. Need to make sure we have the right folks in there that can choose what our kids can learn in school. So, yeah, it's time to make changes. And please, I'm going to tell people this. Do not, welcome to the show, Nick Mitchell. I'm sorry. I didn't see you come in. If you could, go over to my other page, Speak on It with Who You With, Kurt, though. Then I can see your message when they come in. I just so happened to look down on my phone and see where you came in. But what's going on with you? Go over to Speak on It with Who You With, Kurt, though. Then the message will come up on my screen and I cannot acknowledge it then. But do not get it fooled. Have fun. Yeah. Owner of the dealership in Arlington. Don't get confused, though. Don't get confused. He's running for Texas governor. I have it up on the screen for you can see it. He's running for Texas governor, but he's just like Greg Abbott. Don't get confused because a lot of people go over there and buy cars from him and thinking he's a good guy. I said last month when we took a road trip up and down 35, we see these signs. Let's stop voter fraud. Who that sound like? That's why we need to make a difference. That's why we need to vote. Stop voter fraud. When no voter frauds found in Texas. Then Ken Patson, he filing all these lawsuits. That's another reason why the State Bar Association is investigating him. Although bogus lawsuits he kept filing to try to overturn the election. Then Dan Patrick, he turned around and said he'll pay $1 million out of his campaign fund if anybody find fraud. I wonder if Philly got their money. They did find a couple. One guy voted for his deceased mother. Then he tried to vote for his deceased mother-in-law, but when he requests for the ballot for her, it shows she was deceased, and they both was voting for Trump. Matter of fact, it's an elected official. I forgot what state it was in. Um, he voted for Trump twice, knowing that he couldn't do it, but he voted twice. Um, but let me find out exactly. As I want to make sure, and he got a slap on the wrist. He got a flap on the wrist, um, which and this guy was actually a current sitting elected official. That I cannot remember. I want to say it was. I see a lot of stuff coming up with Georgia, and then even Trump told North Carolina to vote twice. Um, all right, I see you now, Nick. Greg Abbott need to go, and Trump is the counselor to America. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. You absolutely right on that. Because all of them, like I said, it's going to be some heads rolling here pretty soon. I'm trying to find that. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Uh, Wait a minute, this might be it. No, that was in 2016. Somebody voted twice for Trump. They need to put a warning on that picture. Because when I opened that, I was like, ooh. Um, but yeah. So it was really no evidence of fraud voting for Biden, but Trump talked the whole time. Voter fraud, voter fraud. And I think he came out a couple of days ago. Um, they talking about Trump coming back in office August 13th. I'm like, really? Um, Marcella said when he was saying stop the steal, he was talking about himself. Trump isn't a smart criminal. Mr. Trump, you can rob that bank by yourself because you're going to tell on everybody, including yourself. Exactly. That's kind of like on Twitter. Uh, Somebody posted a video and they put several videos together where Trump talked about his taxes and how he wasn't paying taxes. Oh, it's so easy to get out of paying taxes. That's going to come back and bite him because the CFO just got indicted last week. That's going to come back and bite him because he talked about um, oh, I don't pay taxes and all of this, and every time he mentioned it, somebody put a video together with all of it. And if you follow me on Twitter, you can go to my page. You can actually see the video for yourself because I did retweet it. Because Trump said it. He was doing interviews talking about, oh, it's so easy how to get out of not paying taxes. Yeah, sometimes you just need to keep your mouth closed. That's all it is. But the latest news, since we bringing up Trump, he's suing Facebook, Google, and Twitter. Yeah, talking about his First Amendment right was violated. His free speech. That's what he said. His free speech was violated. They wouldn't allow him to speak. People said, "Look, I've seen this on several websites. Um, there's not a chance this is going to go anywhere for the simple fact they are privately owned business. They make the rules for their own business. It's not going nowhere. But Trump is trying to take the attention off of what's happening in New York, that he's probably finna be brought up on charges. And while we're talking about that, came out today, Giuliani. He's also banned from practicing law in Washington. Also, yeah, this ship is finna sink. So they better get ready for it. Marcella said, "Damn, Mr. Trump, you need money that bad? You gotta sue social media, sir." Hey, that's what he's all about. He's gonna try to make himself look good. And Trump is at the end of his road. We talked about it last month that Ivanka and Jared is distancing themselves from him. Well, it came out that allegedly Ivanka lied to the investigating department when she had to testify. Said it's a possibility she lied. So this whole ship is getting ready to go down. Nick said, "About time." It is about time. You can do dirt for so long, but it's going to catch up with you. It's going to catch up. Trump is trying to throw a distraction. That's all he's doing, trying to distract you from what's getting ready to take place. Trump probably already been notified that, hey, it might be an indictment coming down soon for you. Because what I've seen and what I read, Trump knew everything that happened with his company. It was basically Trump, allegedly Trump and the CFO, the same CFO that Trump paid for his son's schooling, uh, new cars and stuff like that. No, it don't stand a chance. It definitely don't. Trump is getting ready to go down. I haven't heard about. Well, I haven't checked on him, but old Teddy, see what he been kind of on the hush hush too lately. Um, he's watching his seat. Oh well, I take that back. Uh, oh hell, he talking about if you're looking at your kids' curriculum, be on the lookout for critical race theory buzzword like white privilege, whiteness. He tweeted this 5 hours ago. Uh, Talking about protecting the interrogant election protection, the right to vote. Looking that away on voter fraud undermined the right to vote. Sadly, the DOJ under Joe Biden has turned that upside down. But at the same time, y'all don't want January 6th to be investigated. Hmm. Yeah, and I feel it been alleged that he may have had something to do with it, because I remember in one of those videos, the terrorists looked at said, "Oh, that's a Senate Cruz seat," and they wanted to take it. They said no, he'll be upset. Just got to get the right one to talk. Ivanka Trump, in case you didn't know, they make a orange jumpsuit for women too. Oh yeah, oh yeah. And what was that she did when she went down to the border? What she have on her back? Um, what did she have on the back? Um, um, I'm trying to think, what did she have on her back when she went down to the border? So it not Ivanka. The the um the mail-in bride. That's what I'm talking about. Not Ivanka. He might disappear with that orange jumpsuit and that orange hair. Well, let me take it back. He won't be able to use that dye in jail, in prison, which he probably won't see a day in jail. But these elected officials that we have in Washington, the ones that refuse to vote and indict him. Welcome to the show, Misty Daniel. Um, you're on my personal page. If you could, please go over to speak on it with who you with, Kurt. Though you can live chat with us in the chat, and I can see your chat when you come in. Um, but also, um, when for those elected official that refused to impeach Trump, it's time for them to go. When the elected officials chose last week to go to um, to go down to the Texas border to meet Trump, when an accused terrorist that was part of the January 6th terrorist attack on Capitol Hill, saying that he went down there to translate. Uh, what's the little Becky name? Green, the one they censor and took her rights from her. Yeah, she invited him to go down there. But why are you hanging out with terrorists? I feel like they all need to be investigated. Every last one of them for what happened on January the 6th. Um, TCal said, yeah, where has he been? Uh, Cruz been on a hush hush. He been trying to stay out the lane, out the spotlight. Michael Curtin tried to warn the people around him because he's he probably know he's probably next online. Then what's the other guy named Dan Crenshaw, which is elected official here in Texas, which is up for re-election next year. He represents one of the biggest counties in Texas. I believe he represent West Houston. And he came out and spoke about Shakara Richardson. No, I take that back. About Gwen. Gwen. He spoke about her when she was blindsided about the national anthem. He talked about her, telling her she should be kicked off the games and all of this. So Dan Crenshaw, it's time for you to go to Houston. Y'all need to rise up. Do like Atlanta did. Change it. Get him out. He's up for re-election next year. Trump better watch out for El Chaco. See, Nick. I'm gonna have to put you on the list with Marcellus and Radio Chaos because I'm gonna stop reading your comments when I'm in the middle of saying something. But you are right. He need to watch out for him because he going to jail and he might. Hey, I'm just saying if he go to jail. Um, uh, yeah, I meant his wife. Oh, she had "Don't Care" on the back of the jumpsuit she wore down to the border. So why did you go if you didn't care? You never should have went down there. That's like, really? You don't care? But why did you go? That don't make sense to me. That really don't make sense. But hey, people do stuff just because they know they have cameras around them. That's all it is. They do stuff because they know they have cameras and they have attention. Some people are attention whores. They want attention. So and that's all it is. But uh hopefully a lot of things come up. And Major Taylor Green, that's who I was talking about, that said that took the guy down there last week for the down there to meet Trump at the border. Said he went to translate. You mean to tell me, out of all those elected officials and out of all those uh, border patrol officer, nobody spoke English? Nobody could translate? Not spoke English, but nobody spoke Spanish, and nobody could translate? That don't sound right. Why would you allow someone to come down there that did an attack on America? But hey, matter of fact, I forgot the guy's name, and I'm gonna have to get it. But another Senate is calling for an investigation on another Senate. I'm not sure which one it is, but they calling for an investigation on them about the January 6th riot, because I believe he spoke at the prep rally that Trump had beforehand. So I'm telling you, it's a lot of things gonna happen. You might see a lot of people decide to say, you know what, I'm not gonna run for reelection. And that could very well be they not running because if they feel like if they out of office, people will forget about them, and maybe they won't be investigated and find out what's really happened. But it's a lot of people that have done some stuff that need to be held accountable. I haven't had a chance to watch this yet, but I seen uh, was it Monday night or Sunday night? CNN did a special about the attack, uh, an attack on January 6th. And one guy said he did nothing wrong. He wasn't even in the place, and they showed the video with him walking in there. And he said he wasn't in there. So I have to go back and watch it because I want to be able to take notes and bring all that out and highlight these things. Um, yeah, that probably will do it. Uh, Lock them up, and when they ask who is them, put a list of their names on the back of it. Anybody who was a part of January 6th terrorist attack. But oh, excuse me, that was good. Some juice, no alcohol, just juice. Might say that for tomorrow night, but um, yeah, but we definitely need to make sure. I keep saying this, I keep expressing it, because voting is what's gonna change. Yes, protest is great, but we need more actions. When people see you coming to the poll, they change their mind thought, the way that they think about doing things, because they don't know if you're voting for them or against them. I've talked about all the history that been made um, in the last couple of elections. Talked about the first black constable, female constable in San Antonio, the first black openly gay councilman in San Antonio. Um, Even here in DFW, the first black mayor of Little M. I believe his name is Curtis, if I'm not mistaken, and the first black sister in Frisco on the city council. And then you have two. black city councilman elected in the city of Grand Prairie. Um, what is it? My name, my mind is this Johnson and um, Junior, Junior Zeno, and Mr. Johnson. So it voting can change. Um, Voting can change a lot of things. If you think it can't, uh, Google history made from voting and see what comes up. So voting can and will change a lot of things, but we can't do it by ourselves. It take a village to get out and vote and make a difference. Um, and I'm gonna say take somebody to the poll with you, but that's one thing Greg Abbott is trying to stop. He don't want folks taking people to the polls. So that's another way of voter suppression because black churches on Sundays when it's election time they'll do ride to the polls, but they trying to prevent all of that. That we need to get them out of there. We talked about a couple of months ago when the young lady came out teaching these Republican governors how to do voter suppression real quick, and people won't even know. Well, Georgia did it, a couple other states did it, but they're up under investigation now. And just like Texas tried to do it, but it didn't work. And I believe it's coming up in the special legislation where Greg Abbott still going to try to get it done. So we have to take a stand. We got to get people out that it's not for everybody. Now, I did see the 4th of July uh, greeting that Matthew McConaughey did. I'm not sold on that. I don't care about your fame. I care about your policies. Because he was dressed like he was in a Dallas Bar Club or something, or talking, and I don't care about that. I don't care about your fame. I want to know about your policies. You talking about running for the governor of Texas. I need to know what your policies are. That's what I need to know. In order to get my vote, I need to know what your policy is about. If you can't tell us, I can't roll with you. That's what I need to know. Um, Marcella said IRS is the real pimp. They got to get theirs. Also said, well, we get a bus and we drop people off a block from the voting poll station. They understand how strong our vote is by any means necessary, long as it's done right. But that's what Greg Abbott is trying to prevent. That was one of those small fine prints that was in that bill that he was trying to get passed. So yeah, we definitely need to make sure we get people to the polls. Now, the only reason why these mail-in ballots became an issue is all because of Trump. People use mail-in ballots for years. Yes, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Um, we're in the middle of a pandemic, but you want everybody to go out in the middle of a pandemic to try to vote. So you're going to have more people requesting for mail-in ballots, but you try to make it hard for them to do it. And please, let me help y'all out a little bit. I said this before, and um, and I haven't. Well, I really haven't listened to the news all that much, but I know here in Dallas, I think it was on the news the other night. Um, I want to say it was a 43% increase of new cases, hospitalization, just in Dallas, or it could have been Texas, of new cases of this Delta variant of the COVID-19. Matter of fact, it was on the news last night. I think it was a church camp down near Austin or somewhere. They did a church camp. They got it. They got it. Uh, the cases are going back up. And I'm looking at a story now CNN came out with about an hour ago. In Maryland, every person who died of COVID-19 in June was unvaccinated. Um, and it was and I want to say it was somewhere they saying a lot of cases where people that have been vaccinated are getting it. It was a church that opened back up. Open back up. They go to the church service. Everybody in there was tested. What had already had the vaccine. Then they test positive. Marcella said, if it get too bad, they're going to shut down again. And Jesus, I can't go through that again. I said it before. I said, because they listening to a fool instead of listening to the doctors. They wanted to rush and open back up, but it's going to bite them. It's going to bite us. Now, Greg Abbott probably not going to say much about it for the simple fact it's going to make them look crazy. It's going to make people ask him questions. Well, why did you want us to open back up? He unsigned in laws that you can't ask a person if they've been vaccinated. No federal building can stop a person from coming in without a mask. Matter of fact, I went somewhere today. I wear 2 masks when I'm out. And I'm at a store, and the young lady was like, "Oh, you don't have to wear your mask in here." I looked at her, and she looked in my eyes. She looked like she said, "Oh shit." I said, "Look, you know the numbers are going back up, right?" "Yes, sir." I said, "Well, I'm gonna continue to wear my mask, and I've been vaccinated. I'm gonna wear mine." She was like, "Okay, I'm gonna wear mine too." I understand that's your store policy to let people know they don't have to wear it. But when I see folks come in sneezing and stuff and then touching all on stuff, that's nasty. Oh, it's okay. It's just allergies. That's why we're in the predicament that we're in now. You sneezing in your hand and you touching all over stuff. So I'm like, yeah, I I'm gonna continue to wear my mask, and that's up to you. But it's not good. The numbers are going up, and a lot of people who are um a lot of people that are been vaccinated are getting it. Another story CNN put up earlier today talking about 160 COVID-19 infection are linked to a Texas church youth camp. A Texas church youth camp, including cases of the Delta variant. um, that COVID-19 um, parent of a child in vaccine trial. We jumped at the opportunity of COVID-19 outbreak stemming from a Texas church summer camp has grown to about 160, including infection of the highly contagious Delta variant. The Galveston County local health authority said more than 450 people attended the camp for 6th through 12th graders in late June, hosted by Clear Creek Community Church. The camp took place at Tejano Camp and Retreat in Gidding, Texas. Of the roughly 160 people affected, six, about 3.7%, had been vaccinated, said Dr. Philip Kaiser, the Galveston County local health authority. Sample from some of the infections are being tested to see whether they were caused by the Delta strain, which is now the dominant variant in the U.S., according to the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention. So far, at least three have been confirmed to be the Delta variant, and more are being tested. You got to protect yourself. You got to protect yourself. Just like boxing, protect yourself at all time. I see people all the time, they just happy go lucky, walking around, no mask on, having a good time. Mm-mm, I understand, but I'm not mad at them. But we still have to protect ourselves because we don't know enough about this virus. And because of that, we need to protect ourselves. Um, so I'm gonna try to take time out tomorrow and watch the CNN that I have recorded about the January 6th terrorist attack. I'm gonna try to do it tomorrow, and if so, uh, we will talk about that tomorrow, and then a couple other things, and see what comes about, and also. Um, I don't know. I need to get with her. Miss, yeah, I get with her and make sure. So tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Time, we will be back. Um, and other than that, hey, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I love each and every one of you. Whatever platform you're on, please like, share, tell a friend. You can live chat with us whenever we are live. You can live chat with us, and you always welcome to call in during a live show. Um, so you're always welcome to call in. The number is always strolling across the top. Um, so tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Time, we'll be back if the good Lord say the same. Be safe. I love each and every one of you. Peace.